Welcome to the Unbreakable Podcast, where we break barriers and build thriving real estate careers. Hi, I'm Racynta Abdullah, a real estate expert, author, growth coach, and your guide to resiliency in real estate confidence and success. If you're feeling stuck or overwhelmed, you're not alone. Here we share real strategies and inspiring stories to help you take bold action and unlock your full potential. Join the Home Chaser Network, where ambition agents like you get the support, tools, and connections to thrive. It's time to rise, thrive, and claim success you deserve. Let's go. Hi, my name is Racynta Abdullah, and welcome to the Unbreakable Podcast. Today we have a special guest from California, a real estate agent here at the Unbreakable Podcast to help us learn more about investing. Go ahead, Rick.
Thanks for having me on. I really appreciate it.
I normally go by questions to ask, but I could ask you, what price homes do you normally sell? What and invest in? The mid-price, medium price?
Yeah, here I mostly work in Los Angeles and kind of the Southern California market. The average price point's about $900,000, and I'm probably right about there. I have sold the luxury market over $5 million before, but a lot of my clients, especially those that might be like house hacking or even on the sales side, tends to be, let's call it under $2 million, tends to be about the average. For my personal investing, because I invest out of state, it depends. With my business partner, we tend to hover around $500,000. And then on our own, we tend to hover around probably around $200,000 to $300,000 now. Depends on the property. Does it need a lot of work? They're all multifamily for our personal investing.
So how long do you normally take from start to finish with a project? What's the average time?
Yeah, most of the properties we tend to buy don't need a ton of work. I'd rather just get it rented. People oftentimes forget about opportunity cost. So, oh yeah, I'll take on a project. It takes a year. I'm like, I could be making rent like cash during that time. These last couple of properties we've been buying have already been tenant occupied, so it really didn't need much. So typically like 1 to 2 months to if there is any work that needs to be done. On my personal house hacking, which is when you buy a property, rent by the room, rent out a second unit. The first one we did was a fixer condo. It took about a month and a half. That house, we ran into all sorts of problems. Like it was a 4-month project that ended up taking a year.
Wow.
Yeah.
So it wound up taking a whole year. Was this your first project on your own, or is just that unseen issue?
It wasn't the first project I managed. The challenge we had was really with the city. So they were shorthanded with city inspectors. So every time we called for the city to come out, it would take them 10 days. So now my house couldn't be touched for 10 days, which caused delays because my contractor's like, I can't work on the next thing. And then we did do what's called the FHA 203K loan. I don't know if you're familiar with that one. Yeah, it's a great program, but one of the challenges is you're at the whim of the lender cutting those checks. So the bank we were working with at the time, who I would not recommend, they were taking too long to cut the checks. So my contractor's like, Rick, I don't have the money to keep fronting it.
Yeah. And the project stops, because that's why I'm asking you these questions, because I've ran into issues with investors and things of that sort where either the money stops or something happens with the contract. One of the two. And it's always like when you're in that mode trying to flip a property, it's something gonna come up, and it's, oh my gosh, can we just get one flip that's gonna go really quick and easy? But it doesn't work like that.
No.
Yeah, it does not work like that in real estate, and which that's crazy for you to mention that, especially with contractors. How do you find your contractors out of state?
Usually I work through the property manager, because they're the ones who are ultimately going to have to manage the project. I just do high-level oversight. That's why I try not to get projects that are too complicated, because I tend to be more hands-on with my projects. Like, I want to be there, but if I know I can't be, then I have to be careful with it. So unfortunately, I say unfortunate because one of the projects with the previous property manager, like things just took way too long. But because I'm not in that market, one of the challenges, they're like, oh, it's the city. I can't confirm or deny that because I'm not familiar with the market. So that's when I started to learn real fast what actually takes longer, what doesn't. You start to figure things out in the beginning.
About what you have to navigate against the curve, because there's
Right.
always curves in real estate.
Exactly.
Curves in real estate. So let me ask you, do you sell a lot in LA? Do you list or more on buyer? Which one do you prefer?
Which one I prefer is different than what I do. So I tend to do I tend to do about 50-50. Last year was about 50-50. This year, right now, it's leaning more towards buyers. Listings can be hard because especially in LA, where we still have that large demographic of people who have low interest rates on their mortgages. So for them, it's hard to justify making that move unless it's a material change in lifestyle.
Okay. So have you ever considered, I know you flip in different states. What about buying like a beach home? Do you have one? Like Florida, anywhere, Arizona? I know a lot of people from Cali is moving over to Arizona. So what do you think about your future with real estate for
Yeah.
being a multi-agent in multiple states, which sounds great, but a lot of work still at the end of the day.
Yeah. So on my personal real estate investing, I really like the buy and hold model. I'm busy. I have a kid. I have my real estate business here in LA. So, the Airbnb, like the short-term model, it takes so much time. I've had clients that are in that world and they have to watch it like a hawk. Because if there's a random Tuesday that's vacant, they need to pay attention so they can drop the price to get it filled. I don't want to have to deal with that.
Oh, you made a great point, because one of my investors have 2 Airbnbs, and we just because he wanted and nobody was and have to go down to market price. So and that plays a big factor in especially short term. And then you got to
Right.
watch over it, making sure they don't most important.
Yeah. And I tend to notice when I've ran the numbers, they haven't been exciting for Airbnb because you still have to pay utilities. You have to pay Airbnb's fees. You have to pay maintenance on furniture. Like it ends up coming out to about what I would rent for long term anyways. So why am I going to go through the headache? So the intention really, I think, going forward for us is to focus on multifamily. Buying the ideally 3 to 4 units is my kind of like sweet spot. I'll look at duplexes. I'll consider duplexes, but I really like the triplexes and fourplexes. They seem to do well for me in terms of vacancies. Like if I have 1 unit vacant, but I got 3 other that are occupied, okay, that's better than having a single family home that's 100% empty.
Yeah, it makes
Yeah.
wow. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Because a lot of people are going towards like the Grant Cardone way, the multiplex.
Mhm.
That's what he tell you. I came from a 10X thing in Arizona a few months back in November, but that's what they telling you to scale your business more on the multiplex instead of worry about the residential, because
Yeah. And
it's just everything is transitioning. Because the young kids now, they don't care about ownership. They just want to live in a great area and be happy.
And as you're probably seeing, the cost of construction keeps going up. So if the cost of a sewer line on the fourplex is the same on a single family home. So I might as well have it on a fourplex where I can divide up the cost between 4 units rather than 1.
I agree. And so let me ask you, what is your end goal in real estate? I always ask that. What's your end goal? Do you just want to sell until you get tired of selling? Or do you want to scale and maybe have enough multiplexes or residual coming in to retire yourself selling real estate?
Good question. So probably more on the real estate investing side. I really enjoy it. I really enjoy me myself being the client for once.
Yeah. like to that. Yes.
I love my clients, don't get me wrong.
Yes.
But so do I see myself selling real estate for the foreseeable future? Yes. I'm been working on best practices, training my assistant, so eventually we can scale that side of it. Because I think that's where really real estate's heading as far as real estate agents is they call them like almost like mini brokerages. That's really where we're heading because there's really not enough business to go around.
It's not. And your relationships that you build, because I'm like a relationship realtor.
Mm.
You're right. It's not enough business to go around. Matter of fact, today I had to call the association about a listing that I had an issue with. And she told me she didn't answer my email yesterday because she had 40 new agents in orientation. So she had a day. And I'm like, 40 agents are still, how could I say, getting into real estate, but then not doing
Right.
what we go through in order to be a real estate or even a top producer. So it's a lot.
I agree. You know, what the latest news that came out was over 70% of agents did not close a single transaction last year.
I saw that.
Yeah,
I saw
it's
that.
wild.
Yeah.
And it really is funny because I have a podcast as well. And I interviewed a real estate coach about this literally last week. And he coaches agents all over the country. And the problem is really, first of all, the National Association of Realtors doesn't really care. They need bodies because they charge per member. So for them, it's not really in their best interest to have top producing agents. But there really isn't a lot of great training out there unless you pay good money for it. And that's really where the challenge is. These people are getting their license, which I don't know how it is there, but here in California, 99% of the questions you never use on the exam.
Yeah. Same here.
Yeah, it's not applicable.
Yeah. And you have to really gain experience by trial and error. Real estate agent, I always ask people to go in it as looking at it as a gift. And you pick
Mhm.
that gift. I don't know. It comes really from within where you'll find your niche. Like you might not work a lot with first home buyers, but I did. I like really worked a lot with first time home buyers. But with real estate investment, you due to the property management background, you was able to scale higher on what you love. But a lot of agents never find that area of real estate or what they love. They just really, I don't know if they want to get coaches, but I think all agents need coaches. And
I
which
agree.
I coach with LGI, which is Legacy International Group. No, Group International. Oh, I need it.
Mhm.
Legacy Group International. But I think all agents need to be real estate, not real estate coach. Get a real estate coach
Yeah,
or not mentor because it brings
right.
insight on the end goal. Because you get,
Yeah, and people see $1 million listing. I remember talking to new agents and they're like, wait, the broker doesn't give you leads? I'm like, no,
no, no.
no, no.
With Remax for 7 years. They said, you sell 50 homes a year. Just got out and started just networking and just starting ground up and give out
Yeah.
some and I'll build relationships and then they send one for another. That's just how it works. So
Yeah.
yeah, I think all agents, especially new agents, and even with the increase on the association fees and everything, they still need to include financially the a coach, a mentor, someone.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I think that's
Yeah. And I also think we're starting to get to the point where the generalist doesn't work anymore. I have friends that door knock. And I'm like, what are you saying when you door knock? Oh, I just give them sales in the neighborhood. I'm like, they can find that online.
everything is online.
So what value are you bringing? And that's when I started realizing, okay, I don't always work with investors, but a lot of clients want to work with me because of the investment background. Like I have clients they just bought, it's a house here in town for over 1.3 million. I helped manage all the repairs. So it's, yeah, because I have the experience, I have the contacts, I arrange it, I coordinate. I'm like, look, you need to verify the work, but I'll get people in there. I'll take care of it all. And we're wrapping up this weekend.
Nice. I think that's the thing about real estate. If you make it more of a relationship, you won't be pressed to sell because the sales will come to you. Just like what you just mentioned, you mainly deal with investors, but even though that client wasn't, you gave the best experience to them, and they was able to use you as a buyer's agent. You was a buyer's
Right.
agent on it.
Right. Yeah.
Let me ask you something. Like, how many transactions do you typically do a year? I know people always want to hear like the numbers. It really doesn't matter about the transactions. It's more about the value added.
In terms of volume, I tend to be between 10 to 15 million because of the average home price. So it's about, let's call it at least a transaction a month, but typically I do about 15 transactions a year now. And a lot of it is just word of mouth. Last year, my daughter was born, so I didn't really have time to do all this marketing stuff, but the referrals still kept coming.
Yeah.
Right.
And what I can tell 3 month break.
Oh, nice.
It was like 3 months, like January, February. I had 7 deals fall out when that market just whoa. So I really went in and created a real estate investment course, did some things, and I still had the referrals coming in, but it wasn't like I was out. So that's what I mean by taking a break.
Yeah.
I still sold, but I wasn't.
Right. Yeah. No, that's just part of it. Luckily, I'm in Los Angeles. We do have higher price points. I'm house hacking. I have a second unit on my property that brings in income. So we're in good shape there. Versus there are other markets where the Memphis, Tennessees of the world, where the average price point might be 200,000 or even less. Yeah, exactly. So yeah, I always commend people like yourselves because you guys hustle. You definitely hustle.
I know. So yeah, but I feel like I hustle, but I don't. I like building relationships, so I don't go out and prospect as much. All my like 95% of my business comes.
Oh, that's amazing. Yeah, same here.
So it's just like they call, and if not, I might get out and do an open house just because I feel like talking or trying to sell this seller home, and I build more relationships, gain more prospects. So it's a part of the business, but I think, yeah, here, my daughter lives in Marietta, Georgia, and the market there is 500, 700. I don't know why I just won't go ahead and reactivate my Georgia license because I'm like, it's just too hard working here sometimes. But because of deals, it's just because of deals and sellers. The market changed with the sellers, so it's more leaning towards buyers. And I deal with builders too, so sometimes it could be a little bit tough.
Yeah.
So is it? Yeah. I thank you, Rick, for today and being my first guest at
Of course.
And I look for many more. All right. Thank you so much.
Thanks.
That's the wrap for today's episode of the Unbreakable Podcast. I hope you're leaving with new insights, inspirations, and the confidence to take your real estate career to the next level. If you love this episode, subscribe, leave a review, and share it with a fellow agent who needs to hear this. And don't forget, join the Home Chaser Network on Facebook and school for even more support, tools, and connections to help you thrive. Head to homechaser.pro to get started. Until next time, stay ambitious, stay resilient, and keep chasing for success. Coach Home Chaser.